Before the jar hits the shelf, the journey begins here, at the intersection of agriculture and heavy industry. Every day, dozens of trucks arrive, each carrying enough raw product to feed the production line for a mere hour. Quality control starts immediately. The raw harvest is dusty, organic, and imperfect. Gravity does the heavy lifting, channeling tons of legumes into the facility's subterranean transport systems. Miles of conveyor belts act as the arteries of the plant, ensuring a constant feed to the processing floor. Vibrating screens and air currents work in tandem to separate field stones from the crop. These silos hold enough product to keep the lines running for 48 hours straight. Leaving the storage bay, the peanuts are about to undergo their most dramatic transformation. Every jar begins here, with thousands of pounds of raw legumes arriving straight from the farm.
Before processing can begin, the harvest must be stored in massive silos to ensure a continuous production flow.
Strict quality control protocols are initiated the moment the raw product enters the building.
Technicians sample every batch, checking for size, moisture, and potential defects.
Maintenance crews work around the clock to ensure the complex machinery operates within tight tolerances.
Advanced automation systems monitor every variable, from oven temperature to grinder speed. With the systems primed and the staff in place, the main production line roars to life.
The first step is purification. Vibrating tables and air jets separate the peanuts from rocks, sticks, and field debris. To unlock the signature flavor, the raw peanuts enter continuous roasters, heated to exact specifications.
Inside the drum, constant motion ensures an even roast, bringing out the natural oils.
To stop the cooking process immediately, the batch is dumped onto a cooling conveyor.
Rapid cooling is essential to lock in the flavor and prevent the natural oils from spoiling.
Rubber rollers gently rub the skins off without damaging the kernel inside.
Air jets separate the lighter skins from the heavier hearts, leaving only the clean nut. Laser sorters scan every single peanut, rejecting any that are burnt or imperfect. Finally, the pristine peanuts are gathered in the hopper, ready for the grinder.
To stop the cooking process immediately, the nuts pass through cooling tunnels where high-velocity air drops their temperature.
Rubber rollers gently remove the outer skins and split the kernels, preparing them for the most critical inspection stage. Optical scanners analyze each nut, using blasts of air to reject any that don't meet our strict color standards. Gravity takes over as the inspected nuts are funneled into the primary grinding mill. The first grind breaks the nuts down into a coarse paste, releasing the natural oils locked inside.
Here we add salt, sugar, and a vegetable oil stabilizer, which keeps the peanut oil from separating in the jar. A second, high-speed grind polishes the texture to a size measured in microns for that perfect, creamy mouthfeel. To ensure the right consistency, the hot butter is flash-cooled in a heat exchanger before packaging.
The roasted nuts are fed into the primary grinder, where high-torque blades reduce them to a coarse, oily paste.
At this stage, we introduce salt, sugar, and a vegetable oil stabilizer to ensure the butter remains creamy and doesn't separate on the...
The secondary grinder operates at a much finer tolerance, pulverizing the mixture down to microns to achieve that signature smooth texture.
Now fully emulsified, the peanut butter flows through the system as a warm, continuous liquid stream.
To lock in the structure, the mixture is flash-cooled in a heat exchanger, which crystallizes the stabilizers instantly. A vacuum chamber pulls any remaining air bubbles from the mix, preventing oxidation and ensuring a dense, rich product.
Samples are regularly pulled for viscosity testing, guaranteeing that every batch meets the strict standards for spreadability.
The finished peanut butter gathers in massive holding tanks, kept in constant motion to maintain uniformity before bottling.
Once cooled to ambient temperature, the roasted nuts are conveyed to the blanching department to prepare for skin removal.
Rubber rollers gently rub the kernels, splitting them in half and loosening the bitter red skins without damaging the meat.
Powerful vacuums aspire the lightweight skins away, leaving only the clean, split kernels ready for inspection.
Optical laser sorters scan every single nut, blasting away any discolored or burnt kernels with a jet of air.
The primary grinder crushes the nuts into a medium grind, releasing the natural oils trapped within the cellular structure.
At this stage, the texture is still coarse and gritty, waiting for the ingredients that will transform it into peanut butter.
Stabilizers, salt, and sugar are injected into the mix, ensuring the final product remains smooth and doesn't separate on the shelf. A second, high-speed grind reduces the particle size to microns, creating the perfect, silky emulsion we know as creamy peanut butter.
Optical sorters scan thousands of nuts per minute, rejecting any kernel that doesn't meet strict color standards to prevent bitterness.
Gravity feeds the peanuts into the primary mill, where the first stage of grinding begins the transformation from solid to liquid.
The immense pressure ruptures the oil cells within the peanut, instantly raising the temperature and creating a coarse, heavy paste. To prevent the oil from separating later, a precise blend of stabilizers, salt, and sweetener is folded into the warm mixture. The secondary grinder refines the particle size down to microns, polishing the texture until it reaches that signature creamy consistency. Before packaging, the hot mixture must be flash-cooled in a heat exchanger to properly crystallize the fats and lock in the texture.
Technicians pull samples every 20 minutes, verifying the viscosity and ensuring the grind is perfectly smooth.
Before grinding begins, optical sorters scan every individual kernel, rejecting any that don't meet the strict color standards. Gravity feeds the inspected nuts into the primary mill, where the physical transformation truly begins.
The primary grinder crushes the nuts into a coarse medium grind, releasing the natural oils locked inside. To ensure texture and flavor, precise amounts of salt, sugar, and stabilizers are introduced to the warm paste.
Friction raises the temperature, allowing the ingredients to melt and meld into a unified emulsion.
A second, high-speed grind shears the particles down to microns, creating the signature creamy texture.
Leaving the grinder at nearly 170 degrees, the butter must now be rapidly cooled to stabilize its structure.
The roasted peanuts enter the primary grinder, where high-speed blades reduce them to a coarse, oily, medium grind.
Stabilizers, salt, and sweetener are injected with micrometer precision to ensure the peanut butter remains shelf-stable and perfectly seasoned.
Secondary milling generates intense friction heat, reducing the particle size to microns and creating that signature silky texture.
To prevent oil separation, the mixture is flash-cooled in heat exchangers, crystallizing the fats instantly. A vacuum chamber strips away trapped air, increasing density and preventing oxidation within the jar. Automated probes verify the viscosity, ensuring the spread meets the strict rheological standards for smoothness. For the crunchy variety, roasted granules are folded back into the smooth base at a precise ratio.
Positive displacement pumps push the finished product through insulated lines toward the packaging hull.
To achieve a truly spreadable consistency, the paste undergoes a second, far more aggressive milling process. Stabilizers are introduced at precise intervals to lock the emulsion in place permanently.
Inside the blending tank, the mixture is kept in constant motion to prevent premature crystallization.
Rapid cooling in the Votator is the secret behind the butter's silky, non-oily finish. Human oversight ensures the texture meets the strict parameters that machines might miss.
To create the crunchy variety, reserved nut granules are reintroduced to the smooth base at the last possible second. Insulated pipes carry the finished product across the facility, maintaining temperature until the moment of bottling. Before a single drop is dispensed, every jar is air scrubbed and serialized for total traceability. Volumetric fillers operate at blistering speeds, dispensing the exact weight of product into every jar with zero variation. Duction sealing ensures an oxygen-free environment, locking in the flavor profile for months of shelf life. Rotary labelers apply the final branding at speeds exceeding 400 units per minute, blurring the line between mechanics and art. Laser coating provides permanent traceability, allowing the factory to track every jar back to the specific batch of peanuts used. The transition from single units to bulk cases is handled by drop packers that process thousands of jars every hour. Robotic palletizers work tirelessly, stacking tons of finished product with geometric perfection that humans could not sustain. Final load containment is achieved through high-tension stretch wrapping, turning a stack of loose boxes into a transportable unit. From the production floor, the finished pallets enter the massive logistics center, ready for distribution to every corner of the market.
Units are bundled and heat-sealed, ensuring stability for the long journey ahead.
Automated systems take over the heavy lifting, stacking thousands of pounds with mathematical precision.
Final stabilization ensures the product arrives at retailers exactly as it left the line. Into the warehouse, where thousands of tons of product await distribution. From the dock to the highway, the supply chain never stops moving. As day turns to night, the facility continues its tireless rhythm.
And that's how perfect peanut butter is made, tubes, from raw materials to the final product.